Hello everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you for joining me today. I am busting back into my double fire polished beads of the month club. This is Day at the Beach and we are going to be using 3 different beads here. We're going to make 2 different projects. I have the bracelet almost complete. I see I kind of messed. There we go. I have it almost complete. So we are going to be using some of the 5x7 fire polish, and that's what that is. And this is a monthly subscription, and I love this subscription. There's last month I have gemstones. This month I have fire polish beads, and I love them both. They're absolutely incredible. If you're looking to build up your stash, this is a great subscription to have. If you are looking to get curated beads and you like the fire polish, this is your subscription right here. And what you're going to see is this is the double. And if I were to have the single, which I do have prior month unboxings where I have single boxes, but this is just doubled. So for example, these 5x7 fire polish that we're using today, these luster transparent topaz pink drop 5x7, it would have 20 in the single pack. So we're going to be using those. We're also going to be using some, and this is the identification card that comes with it. And then we're also going to be using these 3x5 rondelles. This is the light pink and blue. And then also some of these copper lined light blue rounds. These are in the 4mm. So incredible. I love how they label each of the boxes. I like that the boxes, your beads they're not going to get damaged, and it's just easy to store, and I just absolutely love it. I did make a pair of chandelier earrings using some different beads, as well as the pear beads from the Crystals Companion Pack. New this month in August, they had offers for the new Crystals Companion Pack, and I did get a pair of the mini pear pendants, 12mm, and so we use those there. But I also do have some 6mm tanzanite rounds to use and some 4mm bicones to use, and we will use those in another project. So that is one of the companion packs. What are the companion packs? The companion packs are in addition to your subscription that you can opt in for. And so I really highly encourage it. Also too, for the new crystals, but also too, the Findings Companion Pack. I love these Finding Companion Packs. You can see here, they're all in one little container, but these little chandelier pendants came in, well, they're filigree connectors, and they came in the companion pack, as well as the ear wires and the little stoppers for the ear wires. But we also have some really, really cool head pins that I'm going to use, and some other like a toggle. We have some jump rings and some bead caps. So like I said, this is in addition to your Beads of the Month club. Would highly recommend it, especially if you're a new designer. Even if you're not a new designer, I don't have a lot of copper, and so antique copper. So this was a great way for me to have some antique copper that I don't always have. I don't have any of those ear wire types. So it's just a wonderful way to build up some of the finding stashes that you need. We are going to be using some of those roped or twisted jump rings from the box to connect. And what I did was I just did some wire wrapping, and I wire wrapped and then connected with the twisted jump ring just to add a little bit of texture. You can by all means add some dangles here too. I just want a simple bracelet. I just want a simple bracelet to accent what I already have. So this is what we're doing. I was working from the spool, and I'm almost out of my 20 gauge antique copper. And I think I got this very early on in my jewelry making adventures from Kelly's Bead Boutique. And so, yeah. I'm about due. So I did cut off some pieces just so that it would be a little bit easier for the sake of demoing. So what I have here is it's probably about 4 inches, because this is about 8 inches wide. So I have about 4 inches, and we're going to put 2 of the links together. And what I did was I did use the teardrop with those rondelles, those 3x5 rondelles in the middle. And as you can see, these 3x5 rondelles, they're different. Each one of them is different. So I just tried to select ones that had mostly blue in it, just a contrast. And then the second one that I did was the 2 rondelles with one of these 4mm copper lined. So I did that. I'm bringing in an antique copper lobster clasp along with a closed jump ring. I use a closed jump ring on bracelets whenever I can, and so I happen to have these, and I'm going to use those. And I always attach it because with some of the jump rings that I have, you can't tell if it's closed or not. And so it's just not easy to tell. So what I do is I just go ahead and attach it there. Then I have a really, really thick 4mm open jump ring to attach my lobster clasp to. Now that I think about it, I need to make sure it'll fit through there, because this is a little bit of a chunker, and I think that's where the split is. This is a little bit of a chunker, and it does go on barely. But that's okay, because we want it to be a little bit of a chunker. So I'm going to keep that open so I don't have to open it up again. However, though, on this side, I'm going to want to attach my closed jump ring directly to my wrapped loop. Here I have my pile of scraps so far. Not too bad, huh? Okay, so I want to do that just because of length. I don't want it to be too long, but with having 3 pieces of beads in between, there's just a fine line between it being too long and not being too long. So I'm going to come down about an inch and give it a 90-degree angle bend like so. And I came in about a third of the way up on my round nose pliers, but on different round nose pliers, they are different. So for these, a third of the way might not be the same. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to form that wire over that top barrel. Then I'm going to hold on to that and then just twist it just so slightly so that now I could push that wire to the back. And now I have that there. Now I'm going to go ahead and come in with my chain nose pliers and just lock that in place, and it just kind of starts that wrap, because that first wrap is really important. So now I'm going to bring in my bent chain nose pliers, and I like using these just because it just has a good angle, and I do like using pliers because I feel like I get a better wrap with them. All right, and so now I have my 3 wraps around, and I'm going to trim that off in the back. Where I start my loops is what I consider the front. So then I'll come around the back and give that a little bit of a trim. Now I'm not going to tuck that in yet. I kind of want my bead there, whereas there's a fine line between having a glass bead up against there and trying to close it off or tighten it down. But I like to have something kind of to go up against. And so I will just go ahead and put that on just like so. And after I get this side wrapped up, I'll go ahead and get that nice and tidied. Okay, so I'm going to come in, not at the tippy tip, because this is 20 gauge, and plus we are working with crystal beads, so you don't want to force any extra loops. Okay, so we're going to come in, let's try and get it about the same. Form over the top, hold on to that, rotate, push to the back, and get that just centered up a little bit more, just like so. All right, and I am not attaching anything to this one directly because we are using the jump rings, so I can go ahead and start wrapping. So I did 4 inches about, so maybe 3.5 might have been okay. So you can save a 1/2 inch. Let's go ahead and get that trimmed off. Then I'm going to come in with my bent chain nose pliers so I have a good angle and just tuck in that tail ever so slightly. Then I need to do it on this side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and come in and tuck that in. Now the reason why I wait for that bead to be up against it is mainly because sometimes I get a little rough with it, and when I go to tuck that in, I will kind of push it a little. It doesn't stay in its wrap, and so that's why I started doing it this way. I found that it was more that it was better for me to do it that way. And so before I went ahead and, well, when I put this on, what I did was I made sure that the front on this one, this component is on the top, and this side, the front is on the top too, so that all stays the same. Does anybody ever know? No, they don't, but I do. All right. So let's go ahead and come down about 1 inch. Give it that 90 degree. That's not 90 degrees, but it'll work. Let's go ahead and come in here, form over the top, hold on to that, push it to the back, and just get that all nice and straight and centered. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and get that started. Okay, then let's go ahead and, oh, they're upside down. And then let's go ahead and get this going. Now I have to remember that when I go to wrap the other side, I need to put that closed jump ring on there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that there. Then we're going to do small side down, then the center bead, and small side up. Go in the opposite direction. So there we go. Now I want the front to be the front on both sides. So I'm going to flip that over to the side, come in a little bit off of the tip, go ahead and give it that 90 degree angle bend. Oh, that's why I probably did 4 inches, was to allow for, this one's a little bit larger of a stack. Okay, go ahead and push that to the back. Get that all centered, make sure it's all centered. Then you can use your fingers. I don't, because my fingernails, they're thick, but when I put nail polish on them, I try to have nail polish on them. The nail polish strengthens them a little bit, but then yet when I take the nail polish off, it weakens them. All right. Let's go ahead and start that, and let's go ahead and do once, twice, and 3 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a trim. So again, for all of this, just to have that little bit of waste, that's not too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and come in and tuck that in. Let's go ahead and come in and tuck that in. And again, just be very, very careful. You're probably hearing my stomach growl because it's really late at night. It's Monday night and it's really late. But I had to get this going because I want to share some other stuff too. All right, so here we go. All right, there we go there. Then what we'll do is we'll go ahead, and we'd already opened up this guy. And again, he's borderline too thick, but it will work. But I like it being thick because then thick is sturdy. And look, you can't even see where the slit is. Well, especially if I do it better. You can't even see the slit. All right, so now let's just go ahead and here we go. If you want to add some dangles, add some dangles. I just wanted something very simple, and I was looking for just a simple chained linked bracelet, and very cute. If you want to add another link or two, you can definitely make this into an anklet. So there we go there. However, did I stop there? No, I didn't stop there. Like I said, once it gets late, I just start getting into all the designing, and because everybody's asleep, I have time to think. So here is our bracelet, and we'll be sure to get a picture of that. But let's go ahead and bring in the next project. So when I saw all this together, I thought, oh, I need a matching necklace, but I don't need to have all the wire wraps. So I have this ridiculously long, large spool of some Copper Color Metallics Soft Flex, and this is in the medium. And I love this. Obviously, I bought the 100-foot spool, and I think it was on, might have been on clearance, or might have been just on sale. But I just want a simple necklace, and I think I'm going to just add one more section. And what I did was I did the 3x5. So I did the I tried to follow the same sort of pattern, but not. So I did, if that makes sense. So I did the rondelle with the 4mm fire polish in the center. Then I did 5 seed beads, and also too, Adornable Elements, they do have beads of the month that are seed beads as well. I got these from Kelly, and these are a burnt cinnamon, and I thought that they just matched really, really, really well. Then I did the same thing with the drops with the rondelle in between. Then I just kept on going, so it's not really a good pattern per se, because when you do this, it's not the same. But I'm okay with that because I kind of dig it. And so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to just on this side do another, I'm going to do this on this side. And that's all I'm going to go. So this is just going to go about halfway up my neck, because I want this not to be a choker, but I don't want it to be long. Sorry about that. So I don't want it to be long. And I love this wire, and I want it to be seen. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest of it just exposed. And it's about halfway, I'm pointing to my neck, you can't see it, but it's about halfway up my neck, the length that I have. And so we have probably about, I do need to add 5 more here. And so I will do that, or 4 more. I need to add 4 more here. I have that here. I do have a lobster clasp too with one of those closed jump rings, if you can see it. I'm probably totally off camera. All right, so, and then I have one of those real thick ones again to attach, because I'm not going to use a wire guardian. I know, I'm not going to use a wire guardian. Can you believe it? However, though, what I am going to use is I'm going to use those thick jump rings, and I'm okay with that because this is for me, and I'm okay with that. All right, so what I want to do on this side is technically I should do the fire polish rondelle well, they're all fire polish, but the 4mm, the rondelle, and the 4mm, that's what I should do to follow the pattern here, but I'm not going to. I'm going to end it just as I did on that side. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. And again, I have those 4 seed beads for the other side because I am working from the spool. I feel like it minimizes a little bit of the waste. It's not foolproof, but it does help reduce the amount of waste. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Oh, I need 5 more. Let's do 5 more. That's way more than 5. Let's do 5. And it's going to be a little bit of free floating. It's going to free float around, and I'm okay with that because I just am. If you're not, you can take, which, I mean, we could do that too, is you can take a small crimp bead, not a crimp tube. You can take a small crimp bead and just flatten it on the end here if you want to, but I'm totally okay with it not being there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and remove the closed jump ring. I'm going to grab, oh, and that's what made me think of using this wire. It was because I was cleaning off my desk and I found my crimp tubes, my 2x2 crimp tubes in copper. And I thought, oh, let's just go ahead and use some of that. We're also going to bring in our magical crimpers, which work just with the 2x2 crimp tubes. Now, I will normally typically use like a third wire when I'm using the magical crimper, but I'm not going to today because the copper crimp tubes are just a little smaller. Oops, they're just a little bit smaller. So I feel like I get a good fit on that. Okay, so I went ahead and added my closed jump ring. And let's go ahead and bring that down. And we do want some movement. There doesn't have to be a lot with that jump ring, but we want some movement. You can see here, there we go. And, all right, so I don't want the wires, I don't think I moved it at all. All right, so now I don't want the wires to be crossing, and they are not crossing. So now what I want to do is the magical crimpers, what's different from the standard crimpers is your standard crimpers have the 2 wells. This one has 1 well. And what it does is when you have to center it, you center the crimp tube inside that well, and when you push down, it pinches down the 4 corners. So we place our crimp right in the middle there, and when we crimp down, it pinches down the 4 corners. Then you just flip it on its side, get that in the middle again. It's got to be in the middle. Crimp it on its side, and then you just start crimping around. And as you crimp around, you are actually forming this into more like a ball. And then as you just flip it around, you just want to keep on crimping until you feel no tension or see any movement, and then you get a bead-like finish. And just pull on that and make sure that you are all nice and tightened up. Go ahead and come in and give it a trim and get down as close as you can. Okay, and there you go. Now, I know that I need to add 4 more. I need to add 4 more seed beads on this side, but I'm just going to put it up to my neck here and see how long I want it. Okay, so I want it to be about here. So I need to take into account my 4 seed beads and my loop. So I'm going to go ahead and come in about here. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I picked up a seed bead. Let's go ahead and add the seed bead. And you can adjust after you put the crimp tube on too, because I want it to be probably maybe about 15 and a half. We're going to try for 15 and a half. Okay. All right, so put on those 5. And again, yes, I know it's a little wonky, but that's okay. I like it. I like a little bit of, it's a little organic, right? Let's go ahead and get this threaded on, and we can make adjustments as we're going along too. Okay, and I'm just trying to get that like that because sometimes I have a hard time passing it back through after I've cut it. Okay, there we go. I think it's going through. All right, so let's just bring some of that through, right? And I want the loop to be the same size. So I'm gonna give it another check. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull from this end. And I kind of want the loop to be about the same size. All right, so I'm gonna pull from this end too, just a little bit. That's a little too much. So let's go ahead and go like so. And again, I'm not going to get it perfect, but if I can just get it close, a little bit more. All right, now let's go ahead and get that crimp tube right in the middle there. So I'm not seeing it on either end. Get that into a little bit of a square, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and come in and start crimping around. And as I'm turning this, it is starting to form a little bead-like finish. All right, and so there we go. We do the little tug test. Let's see here. Let's just make sure. See how I saw it kind of twist a little bit? That just tells me I don't have it all the way. There we go. It's kind of like measure twice, cut once. All right, so there we go. Then we're gonna go ahead and trim that off. And we just try to get as close as we can because that can go up against my neck. All right, so now, boy, even with eyeballing it, that's not that much waste. Oh man, I should have saved my metal too. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this chunky thing on there. He is very chunky. All right, and then get that on there, just like so. And get that all night. Now again, this is going directly up against the wire. The only reason why I'm using the closed jump ring on here is because I know that that's a really, really good jump ring. All right, so now let's go ahead and put that together. And there we have it. I have a nice, pretty little dainty choker necklace. Again, using some of the beads from the Fire Polish Double. And I might make a pair of earrings to go along with that too. But here's just a little quick video just to show you a few things that you can do with your beads. Again, this is all free flowing. So I'm okay with that. If you're not okay with that, you can very easily just crimp down. You could take one of your little 2x2. I would actually use a bead so it's smaller and then just flat crimp it. You can do that. All right. So there you have it. So be sure to check out the Double Fire Polish Beads of the Month Club. And this one's Day at the Beach. I don't know if they still have it available. Sometimes if you order or if you subscribe during the month, they will send out that same month. And I did, that's what happened with me. I signed up, and when I signed up, I used a Wendy Whitman code, and so now I have my own code. My code is Bella10. So if you use Bella10 when you go to checkout, you will get 10% off of your first month subscription. So be sure to use Bella10 so that you can take advantage of that discount. Don't forget to add on your Findings Companion Pack and also your Crystals Companion Pack. So please give this video a huge thumbs up if you like it. Please do comment. I love to see what everybody has to say, and subscribe. And until next time, have a good one.